Welcome to Third Floor Views, a production of Chesapeake Family Life, where we talk about health, education, and living with kids. I'm your host, Laura Boycourt. Today, we're discussing homelessness in Anne Arundel County and what the Lighthouse, a homeless prevention center in Annapolis, is doing to help individuals and families get back on their feet. Joining us today are Heather Cassidy, Executive Director of the Lighthouse, and Corinne Sheridan with Friends of the Lighthouse, which works to raise funds for the Lighthouse. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'd like to begin just to sort of set the scene regarding homelessness numbers, statistics within the city, the county, and the state, just to give viewers and listeners sort of a basic awareness and understanding. And it is important to note, as we were talking about, Heather, that these numbers aren't necessarily always accurate, given that certain homeless individuals might not want to identify as homeless. Is that correct?
That's correct. So it is one of the hardest things for us to get hard numbers on. The big reason for that, I think, is the fear that of associating and identifying yourself as homeless. There's a lot that comes with that, and being homeless. And even thinking about, being at risk of homelessness, there's a lot of trauma associated with that as well. So it's really hard to nail down some of our numbers, but we do know this year, even with Anne Arundel County schools, they're reporting over 1,000 children that are homeless this year. So wow. It is a growing issue within our county.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So the data that I'd like to get into is from this year's Community Health Needs Assessment, which is, I'm sure both of you know, but just for listeners, a report based on the findings by Anne Arundel County hospitals, the county health department, the mental health agency, and the Partnership for Children, Youth, and Families. And this specific report covered homelessness from 2018 to last year, 2021. And again, we're taking these with a grain of salt because they might not be completely accurate. But just to give a frame of reference, the report details 656 individuals and 124 family units in 2018. And as of last year, those numbers are up to 871 individuals and 142 family units. An increase of homeless seniors was reported. Homeless unaccompanied youths is up from 52 in 2018 to 82 in 2021. And just for a bit of additional perspective, the National Alliance to End Homelessness estimates that there are approximately 6,360 homeless people in the state of Maryland. So just with those numbers in the back of our minds, I was wondering, Heather, if you could tell us if you at the Lighthouse have seen an uptick in homeless individuals and families in recent years. I would imagine that number, fluctuates seasonally with the economy, other things that I'm sure you'll speak to, but have you noticed a market increase recently?
So that is one of the things that we talk about a lot now. We have seen quite an increase in the need for our services here at Lighthouse. So we have seen a 40% increase. And that especially not just within our shelter spaces. I know, we talk about, we're emergency shelter, but, we are so much more than that. And we have our outreach center, we have our Safe Harbor Day Center, Safe Harbor Resource Center, and we do a lot of eviction prevention. And we see a lot of folks coming to us now for help with eviction assistance, for landlord mediation, really helping people stay in their homes. And that's gone quite up in recent years. And that's definitely because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That was going to be a next question. I guess we can attribute, most of the increases and even across the board issues, whether it's schools or just lots of increases recently, unfortunately, have been due to COVID and, those years where things have been, quite difficult. And also, I believe a lack of affordable housing is in Annapolis anyhow. To your knowledge, is that one of or a substantial cause at least?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is another thing that, our mission focuses on is housing solutions. And the lack of affordable housing in Annapolis City and Anne Arundel County is a huge factor in someone experiencing homelessness. We talk about, where we can place people. We have a limited number of spaces in our shelter, and we're unable to house folks in a timely manner because we're looking for affordable places to put folks. Right now, our case managers are finding that, the average rent for a 1-bedroom is about $1,600. And so that's quite high when most of our population earns less than $48,000 a year per se, and folks that are living in shelter are earning less than $22,000 a year.
Okay. In addition to COVID and affordable housing or the lack thereof, are there any other main drivers of homelessness that you can elaborate on?
So I would definitely say inequality, that opportunity gap, lack of transportation, the cost of childcare. With the way that the market is right now, with inflation, with the rents going up at least 13%, the cost of groceries, we often serve folks that come through our doors and they have to choose between groceries and paying rent. So we have a pantry program, we're able to help those that are food insecure. But those are driving factors of why families are experiencing homelessness.
Okay, thank you. So moving on, I'd like to transition into what exactly the Lighthouse is and what it does. And as you mentioned before, I know that it's more than just a shelter. It really aims to support people in their efforts to become employed and independent. In addition to that, emergency housing, I believe you have training programs, sort of resources that they can avail themselves of, and then the bistro. So I was hoping you could sort of break down for listeners and viewers what the Lighthouse is.
Sure, absolutely. So, we are a dynamic program, and we're more than just a shelter, as you say. We have 45 emergency shelter beds for singles, and we have 4 apartments upstairs for families in our 3rd floor in our main facility on 10 Hudson Street. This is where we also have our outreach programs, our community outreach programs through our Safe Harbor Resource Center. We provide pantry services, hot lunch. The day center is where our unsheltered community members can come and take showers, receive case management, definitely help with housing. And of course, those that are at risk of homelessness can come to our outreach center and receive that landlord mediation and receive resources and be connected with support out in the community, because that too is what Lighthouse is about. It's about support. It's not just about providing housing or helping to find employment, or it's not about the 4 walls and the paycheck. It really is a lot about the support that we provide, because this is our community and we take that seriously here at Lighthouse. It's one of the things that I love about working here and working with our team. It's more than just a job. We're really truly trying to help our neighbors out. And we have our workforce development programs, and we're focused on our social enterprise, the Lighthouse Bistro on 202 West Street. And we're open for breakfast and lunch. And by just having a meal there, you are supporting the Lighthouse. You're supporting our neighbors at risk of homelessness. You are supporting our workforce development programs. It's really, truly a great program that we have here.
Fantastic. And how long has the bistro been open?
The bistro has been open since 2017,
Okay.
and we now are able to open up our spaces in the evenings and weekends for private events. And
Fantastic.
yes,
Great.
so especially coming into the holidays, a way to thank staff members, a way to thank your office. You can, the packages are available on the Lighthouse Bistro website, and you can certainly schedule an event or cater an event and you're supporting the Lighthouse.
Absolutely, a wonderful location and a wonderful cause. So moving on to Friends of the Lighthouse, Corinne, I understand that it exists to help financially support the Lighthouse through a handful of events and endeavors. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about those events. I know there are quite a few, and then if you can give us sort of a general understanding of the, what kind of financial support has Friends been able to provide?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Friends of the Lighthouse was started in 2002. And so we are coming on celebrating our 20th anniversary, which is hard to believe. And the events have changed a little bit over time, but the reason we do them is, number one, to raise funds, number two, to raise advocacy. Thousands of people a year participate in these events by either attending them or volunteering at them. And over the years, people who see the good work that the Friends does and working with Lighthouse, because Heather is at every single event and her staff, we have gained new volunteers, we've gained new board members. So it's a bigger community purpose. So the kinds of events we do, we start in the spring with an event we call Friends for Friends, which we started out with saying, this is ladies' night. And we had not ever done this before. Last year was the first one. It was humongously successful. A few men even came, but so we're going to definitely continue to do that. We have a golf tournament in the summer. We have a run that I've personally worked on now for probably 6 years, which takes place in Quiet Waters Park in Annapolis. Last year, we had about 475 attendees, which was a record for us. The park only lets us have 500, so we felt like we're doing a great job there. We have in the fall, we start in October with Pumpkin Patch, where churches from the community volunteer. They do most of the volunteer work for that. It takes place at St. Martin's Church on the corner of Spa Road and Forest Drive, all month long. People come every year and we sell out our pumpkins every single year. And then our biggest fundraiser of the year is our Bountiful Harvest. And that takes place also in the fall at a location in Annapolis. And so that's how we wrap up our year with those events. Our annual goal is to provide the Lighthouse toward their annual operating budget at least 10% of their operating budget. So since 2010 through 2021, we have provided them, the Lighthouse, with $1.9 million to support their efforts. But it is never enough. As Heather can well tell you, the budget increases, of course, it increases every year. More services are needed. And so that's why I say at least 10%. We try to grow it by doing doing fundraising, doing the events, getting the advocacy out. We have what we call Circle of Friends, which is a group of very generous donors who have an annual commitment that they make to Friends. And our goal for the Circle of Friends group alone is $100,000.
Okay.
So,
And
wonderful.
I have to just say how grateful that I am and that the team here at the Lighthouse is for the Friends of the Lighthouse. We seriously couldn't do what we do without them and without the support of our community. When we talk about our increase, of course it's always increasing. With that increase that we've seen over these past challenging years, our costs are up 30%. So with the way that the market is right now, individual donations, in-kind donations, the regular consumer is feeling the pinch. And so we need that support more than ever this year in order to continue to meet the need of our most vulnerable.
And jumping onto that fact, I guess, or that reality, for those in Annapolis, in the county or in the state, who want to help, who, are able to sort of carve out, that time, that money, that level of support. What are the most needed options to get involved, either through the Lighthouse or Friends of the Lighthouse? What, if you could sort of snap your fingers and have some sort of volunteer roles filled, what might those be? What are the most immediate ways people can help?
So I'll start with we have the Annapolis Town Center has generously donated space to the Lighthouse, and we're using that as a donation station and an information center. And there's ways to volunteer within that space, and also there are urgent needs that we have, and that everything's on our website. And we keep that updated really consistently. And we're constantly updating our needs list. So everybody can check out our website to see how they can donate, whether it's in kind or get involved by volunteering. The volunteer process and available opportunities are on our website, and how to volunteer is on our website, www.annapolislighthouse.org.
Perfect.
And of course, to get involved with Friends of the Lighthouse, certainly, Corinne, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, our website is friendslhs.org, and on our website are all of the events and the contact information for Nikki Trevi, who's our events coordinator, who is a rock star. Her phone number and her email address are there. And there is, you said if we could snap our fingers and have a wish. I mean, I guess I'd have to say that 10 more gigantic donors come out of the woodwork and hit that donate button, right? Let's just be honest. That's what this is all about. We got to support the mission of the Lighthouse. So that's number one. Number two is there's so many ways to get involved. And every one of our events needs a very dedicated group of volunteers. And that's on the website as well. Volunteer for an event, volunteer to come and help at the Lighthouse. So, and we are trying very hard to spread the word. We're not just an Annapolis organization. This is, a county-wide organization, but it should be a national organization. And people that work with the Lighthouse and know the Lighthouse have friends all over. So we are really good at online marketing. So when we have an event, it's posted on every social media outlet you can imagine. And we do actually, like for the run, for example, we have a lot of people who come from out of state to come and do the run. It's really awesome. So, our mission is let's spread the word, let's get volunteers, let's get money from all over the place.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And I hope that viewers, listeners, checking this out, it's inspiring to see the sort of the supportive arm of Friends, the way it works with the Lighthouse. And if this could be a model for other states, if they, if they have that gap that exists, what a difference it could make, across the country.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else that either of you would like to add for listeners or viewers, just in terms of things they can do and things to keep in mind, especially as we go into this, winter holiday season in regards to homelessness?
I mean, I think that everybody should just check out what their local community is doing in order to solve homelessness. This isn't an issue that's going away. This is an issue that's it's growing, with mental health issues and behavioral health and substance abuse disorder. It's important to, get involved in your local community, because we can do so much together. Together as a community. And, and of course, sometimes all it takes is just, advocating and asking questions and getting to understand the issues better in order to advocate. Just like Corinne said, there's a lot of advocacy that the Friends do for the Lighthouse, for our community, because I hate to sound like an after school special, but it is about the more you know.
Yeah.
And we can do so much together. And I think that's one very important thing to remember, especially after COVID and being isolated from one another so much. It's about the connections and the partnerships that we create, that we can change things, we can change the world, right?
Yeah.
And even just doing this again, I want to say thank you so much to you, Laura, for allowing us time on your podcast to talk about the Lighthouse and highlight what we do at Friends of the Lighthouse and at the Lighthouse Bistro. Again, through COVID, we weren't able to make these connections. And so having this time to say, hey, we are re-engaging our community, we are open, and we didn't go anywhere through COVID. We've been working through it, and we've been helping our most vulnerable neighbors. And so, having a chance to do this, I am so grateful. So,
well, it's my pleasure. I'm the one who's grateful. Absolutely. Corinne, any parting words, or did Heather cover most of it?
I can speak from my own experience before I started volunteering, is just to tell people, be bold and brave about volunteering. And because a lot of people think they want to volunteer, they don't think they have time, they may not have money, and they might think, oh, if I'm going to become involved, I'm going to have to donate money. And it is so not about that. It's about participating and just taking that leap to say, here's a great organization that needs volunteers. I've got an hour a week. I'm going to do that. And that's how I got started. And, becomes your mission and your passion. So I just encourage people to just be bold and brave about volunteering.
I love that, Corinne. That's wonderful.
And it's true. And if we all could set aside that hour or two a week, which we know we have, if we stop, with the Netflix for a little bit, think of the massive difference that it could make. So
absolutely.
Well, thank you both so much to Heather Cassidy and Corinne Sheridan for speaking with us about homelessness and how organizations like the Lighthouse and Friends of the Lighthouse and community at large can make a difference. And thank you to all of our viewers and listeners as well. Make sure to visit ChesapeakeFamily.com for up-to-date local information on home, health, and living for today's Maryland parent. This episode will be archived on ChesapeakeFamily.com in video and podcast format. I'm Laura Boycourt with Chesapeake Family Life and Third Floor Views. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.